were far superior to anything sold in the food hall of Malkin and Sprinkle. She had shared her observation with Mr. Malkin himself, who reacted by stocking several items from the Butter Sisters' range of delights, firmly establishing them at the heart of the town's food industry. Betty and Beryl were delighted, and, as a thank you, offered Hetty their unused storeroom at the back of the bakery, a permanent home for a very small rent, which included coal and a daily pie of her choice. Beryl donated an old armchair, a table, and an ancient sideboard to their newly acquired lodger, preferring something a little more contemporary in their own upstairs flat. Hetty's new bolt hole was warm and dry, but she was the first to admit that she was no homemaker. Wandering the streets had become a habit, and the lack of purpose in her life had made her lonely. She had never been one for celebrating Christmas, feeling that there was a sadness about it, a festival of excess for the lucky few who could afford it, and for the rest, a disappointment. Families thrown together who didn't even like each other, the tightening of belts for the rest of winter to pay for it, and a rather ugly competitive spirit between the haves and have-nots. That Christmas Eve, Hetty had pushed one of the Butter's pork pies into her pocket and left the comfort of her room to stride out into the snow in search of adventure. She was bored with the cheerful chatter the radio offered and the promise of yet another cat taking on the role of Ebenezer Scrooge for the Christmas Eve drama. The snow had been steadily falling all day, and the high street was a total whiteout. Earlier, the street had bustled with last-minute shoppers, but now all was silent and deserted. The evidence of Christmas was still to be found in the shop windows, as Hetty trudged through the snow. No doubt all that festive cheer would have sale reduction tickets by the new year, she thought, pulling her cynic's hat down against the cold. By the time she'd reached the bottom of the high street, she was beginning to wish she had stayed by her small fire. There was nothing of interest to occupy her thoughts. The shop windows of Malkin and Sprinkle were cheery enough, with brightly painted sledges and bicycles. There was even a miniature train set puffing its way around a track, lined with model platforms, stations, and signal boxes, bursting with tiny cats, all seemingly going about their business in an imaginary world. Hetty stood and watched the model train pass her by several times, before her attention was drawn to a heap of newspapers in the shop doorway. As she looked a little closer, the bundle of papers moved, and a small tabby cat's head appeared and looked at her, blinking. As soon as Hetty moved, the head shot back into the newspapers, and as she grew closer, she heard a pitiful voice coming from the mountain of newsprint. "Please don't hurt me," it said, as Hetty began to peel the newspapers away. "I'll get out of your way if you want to sleep here, but please don't hurt me." "And why on earth would I want to hurt you?" Hetty asked, pulling the final sheet away from Tilly's head. "Because this is the best place to sleep, and cats fight over it, and some cats just like hurting me, and I don't seem to be able to fight back." Hetty looked down at the small tabby, saddened by what she saw. Her fur was matted, and she was perilously thin in all the wrong places, her giant paws making it clear that, with a few decent dinners, she should be a much bigger cat. Her eyes bulged, sticky from several bouts of cat flu, and she shook with cold and the fear of what might happen next. Hetty slid down next to her and pulled the pork pie out of her pocket. "This is a bit too big for me," she said. "Maybe you'd like to share it?" Tilly shook her head. "That's kind, but I couldn't take your food. You might need it tomorrow. There'll be nothing in the dustbins till the new year." Hetty laughed and broke the pie in half, forcing the bigger piece into one of Tilly's paws. "Let's not worry about tomorrow," she said. "Let's just sit here and enjoy this pie. After all, it is Christmas."